Oh, hello. Good to
Hello.
see you there. Uh, how are you doing, everyone? So, welcome to another Ask Me Anything, or better known as Ask Us Anything, with the ServiceNow Developer Advocacy team. And we do have a special guest with us today, which we'll get into in just a second. But how's everybody feeling today? Let us know in the chat how you're doing. You made it. You made it. All the struggles of the week, don't worry about it. You made it. You made it to Friday. So with that being said, we'll do some intros now. My name is, and most of us are all senior developer advocates. We do have a special guest, but I'll kind of get that one out of the way. But my name is Alan Andreas. Hello, and we'll pass it over to the next person.
Hello, David Murch here. I'm a product manager on the mobile platform here at ServiceNow, and looking forward to the conversation today.
Hi, I'm Travis Tolson.
Hey, I'm Laura McManaman.
Hi, everyone. I'm Earl Duque.
And hey, everybody. I'm Christy Merriam.
Hey, guys. I'm Laszlo Bola.
And that, Earl, that was actually fantastic.
I memorized the order that fast. I was like, whoa, I couldn't remember.
That was like a TV show production quality thing there. So great intro there. Thank you so much for that. So for those that may be new to the stream or just kind of want to know, we as developer advocates, what we do is we really create content, and we try to be here for the developer community, the admins, the builders, the creators on the platform. So we are here to talk about the latest features and the platform, and really make these tools more accessible, to explain the breakdown, how they work, and create that bridge between the product teams and the community as a whole. We also take your feedback, both good and bad, and bring that to the product team to see about enhancing those tools and features, and see about maybe trying to get some new things added. We also show up at events, which we'll get into later in the show here, just to kind of talk about that. But we do our knowledge experience. We have the India CreatorCon. We do World Forum events, developer meetups, all those good things. And at those events, we're actually asked a lot of different questions related to all sorts of things: how to get started with ServiceNow, career development questions, why are we doing this type of session at all? And so with that being said, it really led us into creating a space for this. And so we created this Ask Me Anything, or Ask Us Anything session that we're doing. And so this is number 2. And so as a recap from the last AMA session, that was back in June, right after Knowledge. We did a session at Knowledge. Thanks to Lauren for bringing up that great idea. And we had an amazing turnout, a lot of great questions, a lot of great discussion. And so we decided to turn our kind of chill stream sessions that we used to do on Fridays or every other Friday into these kind of AMA sessions. And so this allows you a platform to come in and ask anything. Don't hold back. Bring the questions. Let's talk about career development. Let's talk about certifications. What's bothering you today? Let's really get into that. And so as the last session that we did in June, another great turnout, we offer up a form or a link that you can click, and you can actually go in and ask the questions ahead of time. And so you can also ask questions in the chat. And so we'll kind of ping pong between those pre-asked questions and the questions from the chat, so make sure that we get a good mix. But we stopped in July. For those wondering, we did a little bit of a mystery disappearance there. That was on purpose, because most of us was traveling to the India CreatorCon and then the Sydney World Forum, and kind of getting things ready for World Forum season. But we are back. August is here. We're here. And we brought a friend with us. As you saw, David Murch is here from the mobile inbound product team. And so I want you to keep this in mind as we're doing this AMA session. The point of David being here is he has a lot of great feedback, both as product management, how to be a manager in that space, but also obviously in the mobile arena. So think of your implementations as a developer, as an architect, maybe as a customer. What has been really your apprehension, your hesitation in maybe adopting mobile, going live with mobile? What is it that might be a hindrance there? And so keep that in mind and ask those questions in the chat, and we'll highlight those and talk about those. We do have some that have been pre-asked, which we'll get to as well. So A lot of big rambling by me, but what we want to do is kick this off with kind of a fun icebreaker type question. Because again, this isn't super serious. This is laid back. It is meant to be fun. So the question for the group here is that if you were to add an Easter egg, so that means something special, to the ServiceNow UI, what would it look like? What would it do? So again, if you were to add a ServiceNow Easter egg to the ServiceNow UI in some way, what would it do? What would it look like? Let us know. So we'll pass it around the group.
I will say it's not necessarily an aspect of the UI, but one thing that I always try to sneak into test data for like my demos and stuff, I love the Alien franchise. I love it so much. And it's not that well known as far as like if you sneak it in, people rarely notice. And so like I would often do demos completely centered around like Wayland Yutani and like characters from Alien in like very professional demos. And like no one would notice. So it's not necessarily like a UI aspect, but that was a Easter egg that I absolutely included in a lot of fun demos. So it was a good time.
I've got one that's a little similar because I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Ooh.
And Wedge Antilles is oftentimes the demo persona that I'll use. But if I could do something in the UI, I'd probably have some sort of hidden switch that could translate the entire UI into the alphabet from Star Wars, the Aurebesh alphabet.
Ooh,
Nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I went crazy too. I sorry, cutting line here. I went crazy. I thought let's use Gen AI for this answer because why not? So I figured there could be something with some secret button combination, like good old-fashioned Mortal Kombat style. Push some buttons and suddenly it generates a cartoon of your incident. So whatever your poor user described, they have a problem with, it would be just basically rendered to you in the form of a cartoon. Of course, it would be expensive, but that's why it would be very hidden.
Well, I'll segue from that one because that is the secret Easter egg that I did implement in past companies. When I like to put the Konami code into different UIs. And
waiting for
so
that one.
in all of my past workplaces, in certain service portals, if you press up, down, if you press up, down, left, right. No, what is it? Up, down, left, right, B, A, enter, then something happens. And on all of my past portals, I would make it turn on console debugging. So the user didn't know what was happening if they seemed to test it or anything. But for me, as an administrator of the page, it turned on like debugging mode for me, and so that I could see what's going on in the console logs and stuff like that. But if you want that code, it's on the code snippets repository, and you can literally just copy and paste this JavaScript into your client script, and it will work on your service portals. So that's my favorite Easter egg.
I think I would do some sort of Tamagotchi, plant-related Tamagotchi, like as you build things and you build certain components of like an app or whatever, your plant grows, and at the end of your app, you get like a nice full-grown plant. But that's just me nerding out on plants because that's what I've been doing lately.
See, that type of nurturing stuff, though, I get super. I was telling them earlier, I got like fallen down the Animal Crossing rabbit hole, and that would just like create a whole new problem on ServiceNow too.
Yep.
See, I too implement the Konami code wherever I can, but I also like to mess with people. So like what I would do is if you entered it, it would pop up a modal that says your Z-boot has been requested.
Nah.
Oh,
That's
cute.
Oh no. And
Congratulations, you discovered my Easter egg.
that's nasty. That's nasty.
We've cleared all of your tables. Thank you so much.
So now the real question is, which of these are going to get into the C3 app?
There you go.
Which of these are already in the system?
There's that too.
Yeah, so I think for me, I actually have kind of two. One's not so much an Easter egg, I guess, but it would be when you go to do some kind of action on the platform, modal would pop up and it would say, are you sure? And then you would answer that and be like, yes. And then it would do the whole SpongeBob thing where it's like, are you really sure?
Mhm.
And like drag it on maybe a couple times and kind of get annoying. The other one would be if you were kind of in the Konami realm, video game realm, when you click on the delete button in Mortal Kombat, you know, that little guy that would come out and go, whoopsie, that would come out as a little thing to pop up, which I didn't know. So I looked it up before this. I was looking for how it sounded. I wanted to, that whole voice I just did, I practiced that. But I didn't know that he actually is saying toasty. Toasty.
Yeah, I was about to
is
say,
what
I
he's
thought it was
saying.
toasty.
Yeah, but it's whoops. Everyone thought it was whoopsie for the longest time, but he's actually saying toasty. But anyway, that was mine.
Can you do it again with toasty now? Said you
Toasty.
practiced.
You got to lean in while you do it, like you're coming up.
All right, so that was our kind of icebreaker question. We've got a few in the chat here that we'll get to in just a minute, but we're going to go to another one that was kind of pre-asked. And so let's see. It was, where was the question at? I had it highlighted here. Let's see. Okay, so the question here, sorry, I had a little column in here that said, oh, it's in here still. So stream order. Let's see, number 2. Okay, so the number 2 question. What is on the books for developers to do at World Forum? So if anybody on the team wants to take that one, or maybe the ones that went all the way to Sydney and kind of have that already experience from the World Forums, what should developers look forward to at these World Forum events? Should they attend? What's kind of going on there?
Yeah, so I think there's only been one World Forum so far, right? And that was Sydney, right? Yeah. So obviously, I'm a little partial to the CreatorCon space, so definitely come by CreatorCon. We've got some of the cool exhibits and the demos from CreatorCon at World Forum. The other things that we're doing at World Forum are building, I say build an AI agent, but there's 2 labs on walking through building AI agents. Those have been super fun. I learned a lot doing those. So there's some really great sessions, but I'm a little partial, like I said, to CreatorCon in those AI agent labs. And there's also the builder track. So learning how to build apps on the platform, which surprisingly, a lot of people haven't done yet. And it was kind of new to a lot of folks. So make sure to check those out. Anybody else?
Yeah, it covers a lot of it. I mean, obviously, I think we're all a bit biased and like, come to the segment that we're all working at.
Yeah. I was like, there's lots of other great sessions.
But I really do want to really hammer home this like C3 app, because I think it's the first time our team has done something that's like truly independent activation wise. It's been so pervasive throughout all of the events. So I want to say that like I did not work on it. So who on the team, like there's lots of people on the team that did work on it. I'd love you to plug it.
I think 6 of the 7 people on this call have worked on it.
I'm the odd man out.
I just wanted to say, like, yeah, CreatorCon is a must, obviously, but I would just add another perspective here, and that's trying to get sessions delivered by other customers. Actually, that's, I don't know, maybe it's more of a senior developer, lead developer, architect kind of zone, but I always enjoyed that, just seeing how they did things, what's in line with what I'm working on now or planning to work on later, and just compare and actually network, ask those questions, follow up, exchange ideas. That's what I would do.
Yep. CreatorCon is always my favorite place as a customer too.
Mm-hmm. And also too, like the networking opportunities at Knowledge are obviously like always really helpful, but at local events, it's much more relevant to opportunities that you could have that are more local to you. So if you do have the opportunity to go to a World Forum and it also happens to be your home city, like don't miss out on the opportunities to make connections, whether that is to find mentors, to find friends, or potential job opportunities too. It's a really great career event.
Yeah, and to definitely hammer that home, I mean, it's free first and foremost,
Yeah.
right? So if a lot of barriers, again, to get into some of these events, knowledge, it's kind of expensive for some people. I totally get that. The World Forum events are free to get to. ServiceNow's footing the bill, and it's a all-day extravaganza with all sorts of good stuff. So last year, I went to World Forum Dallas. Shout out Lauren and her area there.
RIP. They're
yeah,
not
and
doing one
so-
this year.
RIP. So we actually had people from there were Rise Up alumni, Next Gen alumni. They came, one person in particular came all the way. His name's Mohammed Mo. He came all the way from like Missouri or something like that, from far away, and flew all the way down to Dallas to be at this free event. And the funny thing was, as I thought because I gave him a big shout out on LinkedIn, and because I was really excited to see that level of investment and passion to network and meet people. He brought his resume. He was trying to network with people like Lauren mentioned. There's other people from your area. There's recruiters are walking around. There's all sorts of stuff. But he actually made the most out of it. So there was like Lauren would know, there was like a Dallas World Fair or something that happened like right before that or whatever. And so he like went to the carnival fair or whatever right before that, and then went to the World Forum event. And so it was like the state fair. I don't know why I was saying World Fair, the state fair, and just made the most out of that journey and that excitement. So yeah, definitely, if you can get to those, highly recommend.
And I want to also shout out that as CreatorCon gets a bigger presence at these world forums, the spirit of CreatorCon is trying to show customers and partners that ServiceNow can do almost whatever we can imagine. And until people see that tangible, we use ServiceNow to put your name on a Lego piece, or ServiceNow controls a little train going on a little track, or ServiceNow via ServiceNow, we made a mobile app that creates trading cards that we can scan with each other's phones and stuff like that. A lot of people, it sparks the, wow, ServiceNow can do anything that we need it to, as long as we are creative about it. And CreatorCon is all about the creativity that we have around the platform. And so it says a lot for us as developers if they are trying to increase our footprint at World Forums with CreatorCon and do more exhibits and more interactions and more labs and stuff like that. So to me, it feels like a good vote that we're going to be doing more developer focused stuff in the future at these World Forums. And so that's encouraging because CreatorCon's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome, Earl. That's a good call out there. Yeah, all the different creativity things that you can do there is definitely fantastic. And the more that people show up and support these, yeah, it gives us that ammo, if you will, to make it bigger, make it better, do more. And as somebody asked in the chat, hey, are you going to bring this to South America, and expand this further? And so that's a great question. And so that's where we're looking for those attendees and that voice to be heard and say, hey, what about here? And let's expand this outwards. That's what's happening even in the India CreatorCon space, right? The different cities that are there, people are shouting, going, what about over here in Chennai? Why don't we come back to Hyderabad? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? So be loud, make your voice heard. We're listening, and we'll help bring that back to ServiceNow directly as a whole. So, all right. So the third question for today is around, there's a lot to know about the platform. A lot of new features. Zurich, is coming out. We just did Tech Now 100. We talked about a lot of great things. And so people are wanting to know, how in the world am I supposed to keep up with this? What are some things that we can do to stay organized and really absorb all of that and take advantage of that? So what say you, team members, and also honorary team member David? What do you do? What does everyone do to kind of stay organized with all the updates? Or should you really? That's another good point. So what do you got?
I mean, that's the neat part. I don't. Yeah, I mean, for me, I tend not to keep up with every single aspect of it. I try to narrow in on the things that I feel like I'm good at and skilled in, and I try to focus on those particular areas. And then I try to surround myself with with folks that are experts in other areas. Like when we were building the CreatorCon C3, I have done nothing. Hi, Christy.
I had to.
Thanks, Earl.
I don't have a lot of experience with the mobile app builder, so that's where we brought David Murch in to cover that aspect, because I have no idea what I'm doing in it. And yeah, so I just try to surround myself with the right people.
I also think it's a portion too of like finding a happy medium with what your company is doing upgrade wise and what is feasible for your team size. Because a lot of companies only can upgrade once a year. And I think that acknowledging that and planning around that is also very helpful and keeps things in perspective. Like what Travis said, the platform is so large anymore, it is unreasonable to assume you are becoming a master in every aspect of it. But however, if you can anticipate, hey, we don't know the concrete GA date, I will say ServiceNow is getting a bit better about announcing those with a little bit more headway. But say there's probably going to be an upgrade in Q1, probably going to be an upgrade in Q3, recognizing which one your company is most likely to do and kind of prep around those based off of your platform goals. I also think is a nice way to not feel overwhelmed by the amount. Because that's the thing, is like it's very easy to feel overwhelmed by the amount coming out. So I think pre-scaling it back based off of what is reasonable helps with that anxiety a lot.
Yeah, I think that's key. Just focus on what you're working with, what products you're using. And over time, this keeps changing. Your task to, I don't know, implement mobile, for example. Then you might say, okay, last time I checked what Mobile Studio can do was 3 years ago. So perhaps it's time to update my knowledge in that. So then you focus on that. But besides that, just embrace the fact that you're not going to be able to keep up with everything that's due on the platform. And it just makes life much, much easier.
I like Matt's comment too of saying like he has a OneNote document where he stores everything that he's interested in and like kind of organizes it by product. I will say I'm a big Notion fangirl. However, I've seen other people do this with the platform Obsidian. So Obsidian allows you kind of create like an architecture of interests. People have used it, if you've ever heard of a commonplace book, they've built those in this platform called Obsidian. It's a very nice way for keeping notes like that organized. So whether it's OneNote, Word, Loop, Notion, Obsidian, kind of keeping track of what you're interested in too helps you also keep those in perspective. It's easy to kind of forget, what it all comes out to once you get locked in on one subject.
Yeah, another practical way that I've been keeping up with things recently, and me and Travis just posted a video about it. So if you look at recent videos on this channel, you'll see one of the new ways that we utilize AI is I've been getting a topic, or if it's like release notes or any documentation, and I throw it into Notebook LM. A lot of people might have heard of this already. It creates summaries of any documentation or documents that you provided, or copy and paste text into it. And then there's a cool little button where you can generate a podcast about it, where there's two people talking back and forth about whatever information you gave them. But for some reason, that is such a more ingestible way for me to learn, is hearing people talk about it conversationally. Because I guess I like to think that if I was talking to somebody about a topic, that's kind of how I would be talking to them about it. And so it's so much easier for me to retain that information, especially because sometimes I look through 100-page documentation on something and I forget it immediately. But for some reason, this sticks with me so well. And if I don't have documentation on something, I go to like ChatGPT or Gemini, and I do the deep research mode, and I just give it a topic, and then it comes up with all the documentation for me, and then I plug that into Notebook LM, and it creates that podcast. So and then I go on a walk and I put it on 2x speed and listen to just this like brief podcast about the topic. And now I'm generally up to date on it. And that's kind of how I've been keeping up to date with all the new things that are changing, because things are changing so fast, especially even within ServiceNow, with the advent of AI and the advent of not even just releases, but store releases are more fast now. The AI releases are even faster now. So it's just to keep up. Like, I would reiterate what everybody else said. Don't try to keep up with everything because it's impossible. But the things that you think is important to you, that's kind of like how I do it. I summarize them all into these little podcasts now.
Yeah, I love that idea. Like I've always tried to be aware of everything at a 50,000 foot approach. And then when you need something, kind of have it in the back of your memory so you can remember to go find the info for it. But as you've all been saying, that gets harder and harder with each release to even have that 50,000 foot view of it all. But if you do, Earl, like what you're talking about, if you do something like that on a regular basis, you know, maybe it's whenever release notes come out or something like that, just to get that download of the topics so that you've got it in the back of your mind when, you know, maybe something sparks that idea down the road of like, I think I remember hearing something about that. Maybe I should go dig a little bit deeper into it because it might work for what I'm doing on this project.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great points there. So moving into kind of question number 4. So David, we're now going to put you in the witness stand here, if you will, and kind of ask you a couple mobile specific questions. So the first one is around, you know, mobile. It's considered kind of a niche piece of the platform as far as one of the features and tools there. And what is really the best way that a developer can kind of speed up their understanding of mobile, get support for mobile development projects? Like how to get started with it? What is some of your kind of recommendations there that you would commonly kind of say to people?
Yeah, I mean, the typical answers here are, you know, check out our product docs and, you know, release notes and things like that. But I think to get like real targeted on it, we have a specific doc that you can find in our public docs. That's our best practices guide. And I think that gives a good summary, not only of the things that you can do on our mobile platform, but also like what the different components and capabilities are meant for from a use case perspective. But then also, you know, you combine that with the, if you go onto YouTube, our outbound product management team's done a great job with a YouTube series called Mobile App Academy. And that's a whole long playlist. So if you're looking for something specific that you want to ramp up on real quick, like a certain capability, a certain configuration, I think that's a great place to go. Again, with the ability to run things now at like 1.5 or 2x on YouTube, stuff like that, you can really download it real quick, and then again get that initial understanding of capabilities and ideas.
Awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a great resource, especially those Academy series,
Yeah.
because they've actually kind of, I think, blended it into one overarching kind of Academy series at this point, because there's just so much good information on there that you can learn about. So be sure to look at the ServiceNow community YouTube channel and check out the Academy series. And then I believe on the ServiceNow community forums, a lot of the different products have their respective kind of pages there as well. So continuing in the mobile arena here, do you have some do's and don'ts related to mobile app builder, things that you've seen people do, or maybe tools they're not leveraging or features they're not taking advantage of, anything around that's kind of do's and don'ts within MAB?
Yeah, I'd say the number one do is upgrade quarterly, please. we have seen that a lot of folks are just getting the latest version mobile app builder when they do their family updates and get the trued up version, which means they're not actually ever on the most recent version of mobile app builder. We have been releasing every 6 months at a minimum, sometimes quarterly. And we have been especially over the last year and a half, we've really been adding in a bunch of new tools that are meant to speed up development, simplify development, and just make it so that you don't necessarily have to know as much of the schema around mobile as you would have in the past, just by having more automation, having simplified forms and guided steps and things like that. And also, like, our latest feature that we're really investing in now is having previews of the mobile app right there inside the mobile app builder. But you only get all that stuff if you're on the latest version. So when you're in mobile app builder, and if you see that blue banner at the top that says update available, either if you can, or bug your admin, get it updated so you have the latest and greatest tools. And also, when you do that, I think 2 releases ago, we added in a what's new button in the upper right. So you can see specifically what's been added in that release to better understand what the new tooling is.
Awesome. That's great advice there. And yeah, we just did, our TechNow Zurich episode just not too long ago. And one of the sections within that show, I covered the mobile part of it, some of the updates there. And so one of those features was the web to mobile feature that's there, right? That kind of conversion tool that will help. And so I know that in the past, there's been a bit of complaints around mobile being this so separate entity that you had to replicate what you've already done in the platform again in mobile, and that redundancy and all of that. And that was a line there that people just weren't wanting to cross or apprehensive to cross. But you guys have definitely stepped up, addressed that as well, to even say, look, we're even going to help take web forms that are already there. Like I use the example of the incident form and how you've built it on the platform, and literally help make that a feature to convert it right into mobile friendly of the same. And so the next question relates to, it's, I guess, maybe a bit of safe harbor. So we'll kind of throw that out there for everybody. It may not become something in a future release, but we want to still talk about it because we've got David here. They're in the same vein of the web to mobile. There was also, for Now Assist customers, they could actually leverage the next piece after that, like choosing the specific card to help build that tool out. So the Now Assist support is starting to be there. But is there anything related to build agents, that conversational AI that's now in ServiceNow Studio and the IDE, anything that you can say forward looking, again, safe harbor for everyone,
Right.
in the mobile space with more AI adoption and tools to make it even more accessible and easier for people to build there?
Yeah, I mean, just like every tech company in the world and every team inside ServiceNow right now, everyone's working on leveraging the capabilities of AI to improve experiences, improve capabilities, and it's no different for us. We are aware that, as already been mentioned here, that mobile platform is its own unique dialect of ServiceNow on the ServiceNow platform that's already its own unique language, right? And we've heard loud and clear from our customers over the years that even the ones that are really, really interested in mobile and incentivized for it, they still struggle with the additional overhead that native mobile is, and even web mobile. So, like, when we're talking mobile platform, we're talking native mobile,
Right.
but we also can embed, web screens into our mobile applications, like just take a reference to URL and bring it in. But even for that, the web page itself has to be optimized for use on the mobile platform. But getting back to your question about AI agents specifically, right? We understand that the configuration, whether it's embedding a web screen or creating native mobile components to put into your mobile app, is additional overhead compared to just what you're already doing on the platform. And it's additional overhead for development and configuration. It's a additional overhead for just education to know how to build those components. So we see, and we have seen for a while, AI as a opportunity, generative AI specifically, as an opportunity to really reduce that overhead and reduce that burden of education to learn the dialect. So yeah, we're going to be moving forward, looking at ways to create more and more micro components of mobile. And when I use that term, it's not an official term, but it's just a concept of, to get a list screen, for example, you need your data query, you need your mobile card layout and data mapping to the mobile card. And then you got to wire all that together, through item streams and list item configs and embedded record screens and all that sort of stuff. And there might be a lot of people on this live stream right now that have no idea what I just said, because that's all the unique dialect of mobile at ServiceNow. So rather than making people learn all that stuff, can we come up with agents that know how to make a record screen, that know how to make a list item config, that know how to make a stream, that know how to make a card, and then a top level agent that can string that all together. So you can just have a conversation with Now Assist and say, I'd like a list screen off the requests table, and have it made for you. That is our end goal. Yeah, obviously I can't give you timelines today on like what exactly will be available when, but that is absolutely on our product roadmap and the type of things that we are striving to accomplish.
That's fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much for kind of sticking your neck out there and revealing some of that. Again, maybe just saying it again, safe harbor, people. We don't know if it's going to be in something in the future, but that's the benefit of these types of sessions, is that we try to have these open and honest conversations out there with the community saying, hey, these are things we're looking at. And as always, the team didn't just build for Zurich and pop a champagne bottle and say we're done here, right? The work is still going on. They think many releases ahead, so they are aware, and they are very smart individuals. They're ready to go. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Giving you a bit of a breather on mobile and giving everybody a breather on mobile, we're going to kind of bring it back towards conversations that everybody can kind of jump in on related to career development. So the next question, it revolves around, let's say you're an employee at a company, or you're an employee with a consultancy firm, and you're on a specific project only. That's your one account. They have ITSM, they've got HR, maybe those are the two things. Or you're at a customer and they only have ITSM and they only have HR. What is your recommendation for people to get exposure to other tools? Obviously, you don't want to be pigeonholed into just HR or ITSM. Like, what if you have aspirations and goals to learn at some other tools? What is your recommendation for the community and how to kind of navigate that journey and learn about some of these other tools and go from there?
I mean, for me, obvious answer is a PDI. Get a PDI. You can pretty much do everything but AI. Don't yell at me. Pretty much everything but Now Assist in a PDI. So you can enable plugins and get more exposure to the different parts that interest you of the platform. There's tons of learning courses out there, with SNU now being free. There's paths that you can follow if there's something in particular that you're interested in. That would be my suggestion.
I would say once you get your PDI, actually build something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can only learn so much by textbook, especially in development. You have to just start building things. And specifically, whenever someone asks me like, well, what should I build? I always recommend either two things. One thing, that you learn something by building something for it that would be something for your own life, like something that helps you automate something in your life, or would benefit you from having that automation or that app that you've built. Or find something that you can do better that your work is doing right now, but do it in ServiceNow, utilizing that feature. So if you're trying to learn something new, just build something around it and make it something that you actually care about, because you care about your own life and you care about making your job easier. So build something along those lines.
Just if I can jump on that, while you're there on your PDI building stuff, learning about new products, new functionality, it can actually help you be an advocate internally at your organization. So if you're, for example, if you're working at a customer, this is personal experience, you can just walk up to those departments that may not be using ServiceNow. It's going to be easy, I promise. You just look around, people are using emails, spreadsheets, some other legacy tools. It's like, hey, I've seen you're struggling with this and that. Actually, we've got this nice tool called ServiceNow. We use this for whatever, IT asset management, you name it. I've looked at it. We can actually do this and this in ServiceNow for you. And then you can start a conversation around it, build a business case around that, get the extra funding, buy some more licenses. It's not guaranteed, of course, but this is definitely one pathway, because otherwise, besides PDIs and besides trying internally within your organization, I guess the only other thing, I'm just going to say it, is you go and look for another job. That gives you that extra space to grow and try something else.
Yeah, and that whole share mailbox thing is actually very effective.
Yeah.
Helped me a lot in my previous role as a customer.
Yep. Group inboxes were the first victim of hey, well, you want to build an app? Hey, why is everything just being dumped here with no KPIs, no status reports back to the people?
Yep.
Bonus
Easy
points
layup.
if they took that group email box and then put it into a spreadsheet.
You'd be
Oh
surprised.
yeah, I would say that was definitely it.
And yeah, and kind of in the same vein, right, that others have mentioned, you're using your PDI, you're getting your hands on, and then kind of what Laszlo mentioned, being an advocate internally for your organization to maybe get these other tools or consider them from just a career development and a growth avenue there, without directly just looking for another job. Give your organization a chance to address your concern, meaning that I would have regular conversations with your manager, with leadership, and express your interest in other aspects of the platform, especially if you're in the consulting world. I mean, there's so many different accounts that exist, and let them know that, hey, I want to try SecOps. I want to try something else, right? And so give them a chance to actually try to put you on something else. Because for me, especially as a former practice leader, had 280 developers underneath me, it would be heartbreaking to have people leave and only find out afterwards that they were unhappy because they were stuck on something. So I would definitely say let them know. And to that end, which kind of leads us into the next question, it's around building a career map. So what advice does everyone have related to someone building a career map going forward? That's actually something I would have loved to see in the ServiceNow ecosystem as an artifact out there, some kind of subway roadmap of a developer probably should start here and then in 3 years do something like this. So do you have any advice around a career roadmap, if you will, of maybe like a 5-year plan? Have you done something like that before?
I don't like that. I'm just gonna go first.
Well,
I would not.
yeah. I mean, I've learned through my lifetime that plans don't often go to plan, so you have to be able to be flexible and agile and be able to adjust when things change. My advice for that person asking that question would be, if you want to stay in the ServiceNow ecosystem, I would say find the thing that always keeps you curious and always keeps you engaged and want to be learning. Because you'll find that you'll be very happy in your role. Like that's what happened to me. Like I found that I really enjoyed building automations and workflows in the platform, and that was my favorite part of the platform. And I've continued to do that throughout my career, and it's gone very well for me. Like I'm happy with kind of the path that it's taken, but my path shifted. I used to be the platform owner for ServiceNow. I was a product manager for our ServiceNow suite of products before, or not ServiceNow, service management suite of products before we moved to ServiceNow. So my roles have changed, but I've always been very interested in the automation side of things. And it's, like I said, it served me well. So I would say find that area of the platform that you really, really enjoy working in and stick with it and become the expert in that space. And I think that you would do well for yourself.
Yeah, I think I would want to piggyback and Christy, because it's 5 years is such a long time. 5 years ago, I was still working ServiceNow developer at a university. So I wasn't doing any of the things I was doing right now. So it's kind of hard to think of a career map as opposed to thinking about what your next goal is, or the next thing, like Chrissy said, that you want to invest your time in and make progress toward that. But I think the question specifically was asking about the fast AI world. And that's such an interesting conversation, Because if you asked me what I was 5 years ago, what I would be doing today, I would have no idea. If you ask me what AI was 2 years ago, that's different from what it was 1 year ago. That's different from what it is today. So the world of AI changes so fast and dramatically that I think one of the things that our team has identified is that our community, the ServiceNow developer community, is a little bit behind in focusing on what likely will be not just the future of development, but the future of everything in tech, and that's AI. And there's still a lot of hesitance, which is understandable because there's a lot of things that hesitate about AI. But it's so important for all of us to have, what are we going to learn about AI in our career map and our plans in our future, because it is going to be the future of how we do a lot of things. And I think I'll segue a little bit into mobile and stuff like that. I learned how to make a little app with for my family to track food stuff, like dishes and ratings and stuff like that. And I built it on ServiceNow. So tying a bunch of questions that we've asked, I learned how to do a lot of like this mobile web development, because I made this app years ago for fun for me and my wife, and I think a few people were using it too. But that has led to me learning Swift, and I literally vibe coded an entire iOS app that is now on the App Store, like as of 2 weeks ago, and I developed it almost entirely via AI, and with all the features I want. So it's like, it is the future. It's going to make our jobs so much faster, and we're going to be so creative with the different things that we can make, because we just simply have to be able to describe it. And so any of us with a career map for the next 5 years, I don't know what AI will look like in a year from now, but I know that it's important that we're all learning it. And we're trying our best to make sure that we're all helping people figure out how to get onto that pathway. But if anything, the sentiment that I'm trying to project is that that question about how can I grow in my career in this fast AI world, and it's simply utilizing the tools now so that as it evolves, you're equipped for the change. It's not necessarily about what all the new tools are. It's about getting used to that fast change now.
But one more add-on to this as well. I completely agree. Like, with the onset of AI and the speed in which it has changed our platform, the paradigm in which we are working in as well, it is even more unpredictable career pathing wise than it has ever been. I will say, though, that does not mean goals should not be time boxed. I am a big stickler for, like, if you are truly considering something a goal, it has to have some sort of end date. And you can miss that end date. Like, that's the other thing too, is like, you can set a goal for yourself and life happens and other things occur where things need to be flexible enough, like Christy said, to change. But without giving yourself, I'm a firm believer of, without giving yourself some expectation of when something will occur, it is even easier to keep pushing it off. So even if you give yourself a date and you miss it, I still think that's much, much better than just being like, I'd love to do this thing, but because it's then you're never really saying it's a priority. That is something I will stand firm on, of like, giving it a due date indicates to you, even to your subconscious, right, that it is a priority in your life. And so those priorities can change, but you got to give yourself some sort of wiggle room of when things will be achieved.
Great point.
Yeah, good point, Lauren. Thank you for kind of bringing that other angle to it as well. And Christy and Earl specifically, thank you for answering that and jumping in, because that was a question that someone did ask. And Earl, I appreciate your kind of bringing that scope into the question of the AI being fast paced. And that's where they were going with that question. But they asked for you two specifically to give that feedback. So thank you both for jumping in there. And then Lauren as well for mentioning the goals there. My thing with this topic is that, yeah, 5 years is a long time. AI is changing, but there is, like Lauren mentioned, an absolute critical need to set end dates, but there still is opportunities to plan, right? Some of you may eventually want to become a certified technical architect or a certified master architect. Those require multiple years of experience, multiple certifications, those types of things. And so while you may not be able to know the entire platform, you can set up logical steps and milestones to check off that you're on that track, you're on that path. And this goes back to the same question earlier about adopting other parts of the platform and how do you talk to your organization about doing that. The same conversations are had with your career growth as a ServiceNow professional with management. Let them know, hey, I'm interested in CTA, CMA, or whatever other programs you might be interested in, because these have a cost associated to them. And it's unfair to bring this up last minute and say, hey, can I have $17,000 please to be a CMA? It's, they're going to be like, when did you think of this? The other piece is even around attending knowledge. If you haven't attended knowledge yet, and you're wanting to go, having a career map and a conversation with leadership about going to knowledge helps set that budget aside. So even just small things like that, just talking and doing regular check-ins, and bringing up those as part of a career map, if you will, is huge. So just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, so we've had a lot of great discussion. We've got about 8 minutes left. I don't know if there's anything else in the chat that somebody wants to highlight or bring up, or just a question or something that maybe our conversation today triggered that you want to just mention, or something you're doing right now. Like literally, Earl, do you have a controller in your hand right now?
I can get a number of them at any given moment. They're all around me. I mean, I do want to highlight what David said in the chat real quick. David, if you wanted to say your last point.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about AI and trying things and doing tools, and like, don't be afraid to just try something. Like, I'm a product manager, I'm not a developer, so I've been trying to use AI to figure out how to do things that product managers generally can't do, and it won't work. But 3 to 6 months later, it might. So don't be afraid to try things. Get creative with the tools that are out there. Try and piece tools together to get the outcome you're looking for. And if it doesn't work, circle back a little bit later, because it might. We're all talking about how fast things are moving. It's only a matter of time until it can maybe do the thing that you're trying originally.
Yeah. And while we have you on the call, David, like, because of you helping us with C3, half the team on here has now done so much more mobile development than we've probably ever done in our entire life. But I mean, circling back to some of the do's and don'ts, I feel like we could probably talk about a little bit more of some of that stuff. Because I know for me, especially learning more about the process and just how mobile works, it's so different than how you normally would think in a ServiceNow app, because screens can circle back on each other, and lists are separate because they could be displayed on multiple locations, and just the what is the word, topography? I can't remember the word for it is, but a do is learn how, just wrap your mind around how mobile apps on your own phone work, and how screens are constantly being changed and looped back around, and you jump between screens back and forth. That's very different than how a person navigates ServiceNow. And that helped me realizing that I need to think like a mobile app helped me build better on Mobile Studio, because I finally was like, oh, I need to think about it as like separate components, and we're building these things separately and then calling them back and forth over and over again. So that's don't think of it as regular ServiceNow development.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I always use the Lego block analogy. I think our mobile platform is much more of a Lego block assembly than the website is. And what I mean by that is, we have components that are meant to be reused, right? You make a card and you can use that mobile card in multiple different locations. Earl, like you said, you can make a list screen that you access from a bunch of different places. And there is a capability to dig deeper into things and string things along. But the idea just being like, how do I connect these components together to get the workflow that I'm looking for? And I think the two other things that I would say that I do personally when building things, I always try and just map out the flow, whether it's just, a basic flow chart, like a really simple flow chart, to then help me figure out how to connect those blocks together. And if maybe I've already got a component that I could reuse rather than basically duplicating something. But the other thing is, and Christy, you might be able to like nod your head along with this one. Start simple and work your way up in complexity. Like when we were trying to build the scanning capability in the C3 app, it was, well, let's just get the scanner to open up first. And once we do that, then let's just do a very basic scanning function to change a field. Okay, now we know we got those bones working. Now let's get into the script to do exactly what we're looking for, rather than trying to go straight to the full complexity right away. I really recommend that for people that are coming up to speed on mobile.
Totally.
You don't necessarily need to do that once you have your mobile PhD, but as you're starting, that's a really good way, because then you can eliminate, well, something's not working here, and I've got this super complex thing. So how do I debug this super complex thing versus I've been stepping my way up to it in the complexity realm, and this is where it stopped working.
Yeah. I would say it's very much like you would think of traditional development, where you're doing incremental development. You get an MVP, it's all working. Okay, you commit those changes, and now I'm going to work on this other thing that I'm going to add to my MVP and advance it a little bit more. So I would definitely think of it as traditional software development. Start small and continue to build on. Yeah. And over time, you'll get that PhD in mobile that David was talking about, and learn all that taxonomy of the mobile applets and screens and things. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Taxonomy.
Yeah, I knew it. I was
there
like,
you go.
What's taxonomy?
There it is.
Well,
typography.
I was wondering if you meant typography, which is like the font styles and things like that.
Taxonomy.
Yeah, taxonomy is what. Yep.
Yep.
All right. So we've got just a few minutes left. And for those that are just craving more, love these conversations, you've kind of gotten to know some of the different personalities here and their interests per se. Where can they find you all next? What else do you have going on? Where can they find you?
Well, for me, I will be streaming on Monday, where we'll be working on the garden app. I'm switching gears. It was doing Make Farm. We're going to switch to the garden app because we're building some AI agents for it, and I got really excited about it. So that's what we're going to do on Monday. But Travis and Earl also have their live streams. Do you guys want to talk about what you guys might be working on in your next live streams? Sorry, putting you on the spot.
I guess after Christy's episode, so Christy is live streaming on Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday, 11 Eastern. Yep.
And then I'm following on Wednesday, and then a week after me is Travis with his show. For mine, I am starting a new arc. So season 1 just ended, and I'm moving into season 2. I'm going to build a ServiceNow Discord bot. We have all of these videos about ServiceNow Slack bots. We don't really have one on Discord. And so we're going to be doing the full kit and caboodle of building a ServiceNow app that will receive Discord chat messages, parse them, and figure out a reply and send it back to Discord. But also, because it has to be a Node app, how to make the Node app, and then how to deploy it so that it's alive 24/7. So we're going to be doing all of that on the next arc of 11Z's Live Coding Happy Hour. Travis?
And I am on the alternate Wednesdays from Earl. And basically, I've been working on building out a troubleshooting remediation tool for our CreatorCon C3 app that we can use when we're working the booth at World Forums and Knowledge. And that's been built on Service Portal. We've had some custom script tables using GlideScope Evaluator. We're actually winding down on that one, so I'll probably have another episode or 2 on that one, and then we'll be kicking off a new project.
Awesome. How about Lauren? Can we get a little maybe taste of when Breakpoint's coming out, or what you got going on?
Heck yeah. The Breakpoint podcast is a ServiceNow Developer podcast that our team produces and I host. The next episode comes out on August 27th, so not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. And that also brings to the end its monthly release cycle. We are moving back to a bi-weekly release cycle. So get excited. I'm very, very pumped to be moving it back to a more frequent basis. And yeah, stick around for August 27th. It'll be live in the morning.
I get to listen to more Lauren at 2x speed.
Yeah, all that yapping.
Yeah, sometimes we get into a call and it's like, I forget that Lauren doesn't talk that fast, actually.
Like,
I'm so used to
whoa.
hearing you at 2x.
And we will be having our Creator Toolbox season, content creation season for Zurich. It's on the docket. Laszlo and I just filmed one just yesterday. We've got another one set up for Monday that we'll be producing and pushing out here soon. So there will be a lot of Zurich content coming soon. But I think that wraps it up, everybody. We did it. We did it. We made it through number
Yay.
2. Thank you
Yay.
so much, everybody. Thank you, David, for being here, for handling the mobile side, and to everyone in the chat. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one.
Have a good weekend,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
weekend.
everybody.
Bye.
Gotta find the buttons.
Yeah.
Bye,
We're still here.
everyone.
Hi,
Bye.
we're still here.
Bye.
We didn't actually leave. Okay, now we did.
Yeah.
Or did we?
Yeah.